where nobody had an off night. A game in the finals where every starter, we hear about games all starters get to double digits. It's 10 points, 11 points. Everyone gets to 17 points.
And I'd be shocked if you saw it where it was on the road.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that element of it, where you don't have the home crowd juicing you up throughout. And by the way, they needed it. It would have been one thing if this was 125-89, where it was that the Warriors rolled over and played dead, and it wasn't a concern at any point that the Raptors could lose. The Raptors were in jeopardy multiple times, and then Danny Green hit a three, and Kyle Lowry hit a three.
Yep.
Hell, the end of the first quarter, Steph races down, gets a three with about 14 seconds left, and to cut it to 4.
Yes.
And guess what? They come back down. Danny Green hits a corner three. It was an all-around effort. And then on the bench, you had Serge Ibaka, who offensively just 2 of 4. And he comes in with his the best defense I've seen him play since he was wearing Oklahoma City Thunder jersey. He was a monster in the second half defensively. It was truly, they played 7 guys significant minutes. All 7 guys made their impact felt on this game.
You said yesterday, you talked about Kyle Lowry and how if they're going to win, Kyle Lowry is going to need to step up. And he did 23 points, 5 3-pointers in this one. How effective was he, and how much did Kawhi need him?
Kyle Lowry's game was so important. Not only did he help stabilize the backcourt, but some of that firepower that Steph from the backcourt, because Van Fleet came in, him and Danny Green, they had a great 3-guard rotation. But Kyle Lowry's ability to be able to score without a design play and his ability to be able to shoot from deep, it opened up the defense. It made him generate a lot of attention to that side of the court. So even with that attention, he could swing the ball and get someone else's shot. The Warriors knew and they respected his game, so it opened up the court. It gave Kawhi a chance that he could rest a little bit on the offensive end, so when he wanted to have a burst that he didn't run out of gas. I thought Kyle Lowry was special. Game number 1, I thought he was just okay because the other people, Siakam played so well, and his point total was down, but the way he ran the game, I think, was efficient. Game number 2, I expect better from him. He's back to where he was playing in the Milwaukee series. They don't have a chance unless he is. We have to have an argument. Is he the second or third best player? But he's got to play like he's the second best player, and when he does, they're a tough team.
And he almost got himself in trouble. I text you when it happened because the fouling 30 feet, 60 feet, 90 feet from the basket, which is how he fouled out of game 2, which was a really poor game by him. There was a sequence in the second quarter where he had back-to-back fouls.
Yeah, late in the second quarter.
Far away from the basket. It was giving the Warriors free throws, and it's like, what are you doing? He didn't pick up another foul the rest of the game. He picked up his 3rd foul with about 2 minutes left in the second quarter, finished the game with only 3 fouls, but it really was everybody. And Danny Green, who shot 11% from 3 in the conference finals, has already made more threes through 3 games of the NBA finals than he did through 6 games of the conference finals. If he can hit those open corner threes, which he's going to get, he is such an asset because he's such a good long defensive player.
Another number to watch is watch 100. You said their starters scored 106 of the 123. This year, when their starters scored 100 points, they're 7-0. So let's just watch as we go on. If their starters can get to 100, good chance the Raptors are going to win.
And one thing, because we're talking about the whole cast, what shouldn't be lost in the shuffle is Kawhi Leonard, who's clearly not 100%.
No.
He found a way to moderate himself, had a big impact early, had a big impact late. You look, it seemed like he had a quiet game. You look, oh, he had 37 and 6. First game of the series, above 50% from the field. He had, going into the game, had only made 13 field goals. He made 9 in last night's game. He once again got to the free throw line double-digit times. So now he's been the free throw line 39 times. He's 36 of 39 from the line through 3 games, which is obviously spectacular. And he was a little more impactful defensively in this game than we'd seen him. But he was the best player for the Raptors.
You do see that he is hampered by his legs a little bit, and he was struggling a little bit and hobbled. But last night he got help from his teammates. Let's move on to talk about Klay Thompson. He warmed up before Game 3 last night, but the training staff ultimately felt that he should sit, and the Warriors certainly missed him, falling to the Raptors in his absence 123-109. As for KD's potential return, he said after the game he'll, quote, know more in the morning. Steve Kerr talked about the decision to sit Klay Thompson and what that means moving forward.
Never would have forgiven myself if I played him tonight and he had gotten hurt. So you live with the decision. You make a wise decision, the wisest one you can, then you live with it and you move forward. So the good thing is Clay has done well the last 2 days. Now he's got another couple of days to heal. Hopefully he'll be out there Friday.
You got to try to have next man up mentality like we always say, and just go out and fight. We did that tonight. We can play better, obviously, better on the defensive end. But I like the competitiveness that we had. Understanding, like we're missing 50 points pretty much between KD and Clay, so we'll adjust and it's a long series. It's gonna be fun for us.
Warriors are hoping it goes even longer, but they're having a hard time with all these injuries. Will injuries be the biggest factor in the NBA Finals moving forward?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It will be the story. You won't be able to tell this story without talking about the injuries. I mean, we've never seen anything like it. KD lost a couple series ago, but Kevon Looney, a guy that a rotational player, very, very important to them, out with a cracked shoulder. I mean, Clay, the ultimate warrior, misses his first playoff game. Yes, I mean we haven't seen this type of star power all at once off the court. We talked about a number of years ago. Oh, Kyrie Irving, he wasn't available. Oh, Kevin Love, oh, he wasn't available. But not to the magnitude of these injuries. But ultimately, though, it's still going to be a champion awarded. Don't nobody care about the Warriors. All these other teams we've seen through the years, they had injuries. I talked about the Cavs, the Rockets, and other teams that they faced. So this long NBA season, it does mean something. But just imagine this, because you talked about this just off the record when you're just blowing off steam. Imagine if the Warriors had their act a little better during the regular season. They win one more game. Maybe they got home court advantage compared to, the regular season doesn't mean that.
They played Toronto twice. One game, Kevin Durant scored 51 points, and they lost. One game, Kawhi Leonard didn't play, and they lost. If they had won either one of those games, either one of those games, then they have home court advantage in this series. Then it's 58 wins for them, 57 wins for Toronto.
But would that change the table and the landscape of where things are right now?
It just lets you know the importance of the regular season. Those 82 games, they've worked it out that, yes, but the wear and tear, it's real. It hit the other 29 teams the last 5 years. Now it's hit the Warriors.
And if they had home court, even if all the injuries still happen. Now, obviously, Kevon Looney and Clay's injuries happened in this series, so everything would be different. But let's just pretend the injuries are the exact same and the score of the series is the exact same. If they had home court, they'd be in this position. Okay, we just got to get to a Game 7, which is at home.
Yes.
Now they're in a position where there's two ways for the Warriors to win this series. Win 3 in a row, starting right now, or win 3 out of 4, including Game 7 NBA Finals on the road. Now, I understand we saw the Cavs and LeBron do that to them in Oracle. It is incredibly rare. There is no better, historically, home court advantage in sports. Better than conference championship games in the NFL, better than in playoff baseball. Game 7s of conference finals or NBA Finals for the home team. And so, but to answer your question directly, Jenna, injuries are the story of this series. Now, you could argue they're the story of many NBA Finals, and we just, through the lens of history, forget about them. But last night, you can make the argument, if any of their 4 injured players was 100%, they win that game. If KD's out there, if Clay's out there, hell, if Kevon Looney's out there,
I can argue
he can make an impact. And the 4th guy is Boogie, who Boogie was out there, but he's not Boogie Cousins. Like, would we have gone into last night's game thinking the Warriors were
those minutes were forced on him?
Of course they were forced on him because he's coming back from an injury. If the Warriors had a fully healthy Boogie Cousins, we're talking about this totally differently. That is, again, I want to make this clear. There's a difference between an excuse and an explanation.
Yes.
This is not an excuse. This is life in the NBA, and the Warriors don't want to historically go back and start playing the injury game. Because in 2015, the Cavs will have an objection. In 2017, the Spurs and Kawhi have an objection. And last year, the Rockets and Chris Paul have an objection.
Of course.
It just feels like the Warriors, after dancing through the raindrops injury-wise for 4 years, now have a thunderstorm on their head with all these guys injured at the same time.
It's hard to, and I'm sure no one does, it's hard to feel sorry for this team because they have so many superstars superstars. And, oh, they had to do it with just one superstar and maybe Draymond Green. A lot of teams, LeBron had to do it, go through the finals, go through the entire playoffs with just one superstar on their team.
Yes, no one has seen the run that they have been on as far as lack of their key guys being hurt. No one wants to see their key guys being hurt. But we still have to cover the series. And I do believe that when you look back on it, the regular season, it becomes very, very important what type of shape you get into the playoffs in. And unfortunately, they lost Boogie Cousins. He fights himself to be able to come back. Unfortunately, they lose KD. With Clay being out there, I mean, this is the story of the series because Kawhi's not healthy. Kyle Lowry's not the story. Like, what else would we talk about? The injuries are the #1 headline.
Jenna, back when you were covering the New York Knicks in '99, the lockout year, they make the NBA Finals. They get washed in those NBA Finals. You know one of the reasons? Patrick Ewing got hurt during that playoff run. He was out and was not himself. They had to go to Marcus Camby, who played well. Like, this is how it works in the NBA playoffs. If the Warriors, however, are able to win the championship, I'll have to go deep into the archives, but best as I can tell, they will have suffered more injuries during the playoffs than any NBA champion in modern NBA history of key guys. You lose your best or second best guy, Kevin Durant, for a month at least. You lose Klay Thompson for at least 1 game. You lose Boogie Cousins for 6 weeks. You lose your starting center and replacement of Boogie Cousins during the NBA Finals. Teams historically have not been able to overcome that. We'll see if the Warriors can break that trend.
But if they lose, there's no asterisk you're putting by them at all, because we may remember it now, but we're years from now.
The Raptors get this championship free and clear if they win by any means necessary.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, should the Raptors be favored to win the finals now? That's next on First Things First.